and welcome back. Happy New Year's to all. Hopefully, everyone had an awesome holiday break. We were off for 2 weeks. We're back at it. We're in a new year. We're just going to continue where we left off from before. This is PLAR History and Geography with myself, Jonathan, your teacher for this course. We're live right now at Wasa here in Silico. Again, we're continuing where we left off from before. This is still term 1B. We are at week 7 in this term, which means there are 2 more weeks left in this term before we start a brand new term. It is Tuesday, January the 10th. We're live right now. Again, welcome back. Happy holidays to all. Feel free to share with the class what you did over the break, whether you did something exciting, cool, awesome, hang out with friends, hang out with families, whether you went on vacation, maybe you left the country, went to Cuba, Mexico, who knows, where it's nice and tropical and warm. For myself, I simply just went back home, back to Brampton, where I just spent time with the family and friends, catching up, all those fun stuff. But we're back at it now. Let's regain focus. Let's get that mindset back into class. Again, we want to finish what we want to achieve, which is to finish this course or to get your credit for this course. Over the next 60 minutes, we will discuss topics in lesson number 5. We might do a bit of review from last class from 2016 just to get a bit of refresher before we start any new content for today. Before we begin with our class lecture and notes and contents, again, get a hold of me at any point, any time, simply by phone call. Call me during my office hours. Ask for Jonathan or an extension 2221. Email jho@nnec.on.ca or inbox me through Facebook, social media at jhowasa. If you want to join in class live right now, simply just call the Wasa studio either at your learning center or at home if it's currently not open. And make sure you simply log on to Smart Bridget as well. That way you can see what I'm seeing and it will definitely help you in terms of your studies. Again, just to go over quickly my office hours for this term. Again, no changes. I'm in office Monday to Friday from 8:30 to noon. Then I go home, have lunch, and I'm back in office at 1 till 3:30. That's still the same, consistent Monday to Fridays. Announcements. Doug and myself were supposed to travel to Big Trout. Keyword there were. There was a definite not in the community of Big Trout, but I believe in Wapakeekan, from what I heard. So Robin, the DSC in Big Trout, has decided to once again postpone our community visit. So again, I'm sorry. Yes, I will not be traveling to Big Trout at the moment. Yes, again, I was supposed to be traveling right after this class later this afternoon. I was supposed to be there tonight to host an open house. But again, due to unfortunate events, we were unable to travel, which is all right. We'll again figure out another future date. Once that has been set in stone, I will announce that, and that will happen. So again, everyone in Big Trouts, I will be coming at some point. I just don't know when yet. But again, no community visit to Big Trout for myself and Doug for this term. We might be going maybe next week or the week afterwards. We'll see how things play out and unfold, but again, we're not traveling today. In terms of Mish, that is still the goal for next week. Barry and myself still plan on traveling to Mish, depending on what the weather's like. If the weather is like what it is right now, snowing here in Suka, we will definitely not come since we will be driving. So again, keep your eye out for that. We'll post any information. We'll probably like a last minute note, again, depending on the weather. But the goal is next week, Barry and myself will be coming to Mish for our community visit. Again, if you have any questions in regards to community visit, travels, let me know. Talk to DC, and they will fill you in for that. Other than that, that's it. Again, hopefully everyone had an awesome, restful holiday break. We're back at it. Again, feel free to interrupt me and tell me some stories of what you did if you want to share it, or send me an email or inbox me. Again, I love some engagement, interactions. Again, this is a learning community where we're here to learn together. All right. So lesson number 5 that starts on page 40 in your textbook. We're going to do a super quick review of what we just talked about last class before the holiday break on Thursday. We'll quickly go over some definitions just to get a bit of a refresher of what physical geography is all about, and then we'll dive into today's lessons in terms of our learning goals and our success criteria. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to just interrupt, speak into your microphone if you have one, type out if you're on Smart Bridget, gain control of my smartboard, write your questions. Again, many ways to interact and engage. All right, so again, we're starting on page 40 today. A little quick review. We'll zip through some of these slides. Should be any problems, and then we shall get started. So, this is our last lesson for this term, lesson number 5, physical geography. Again, our learning goals before we were learning about physical geography and our success criteria that I can define physical geography, and I can define a region. So what is physical geography? Physical geography is a study of natural features of the Earth's surface in its current aspect. And again, it could include, not limited to, animals, humans, plants, anything that's living, the climate, the environment, regions, land formations, much more. Some of these topics will dive into greater details, and hopefully we'll make some of these connections as well. What is a region? A region is defined as a set of characteristics. Again, really broad definition. It could be anything from what is actually physical. It could be a landmark, such as mountains or rivers or something else. Some have imaginary lines, which divides into different territories. I gave the example of Canada, our country. Again, our country is divided into different provinces and territories, where we had 10 provinces and 3 territories. Again, there's no physical boundary in terms of where each province and territory starts. It's just an imaginary boundary. Again, we broke it down even looking further, where we looked at different regions in Canada, such as the Atlantic, the Pacific, Central Canada, the Prairie regions, and Northern Canada. And we even broke that down even further, where we looked at regions in Ontario, such as Northern Ontario, Southern Ontario, Eastern Ontario, etc. Okay, so again, a region, okay, an area that has a set of characteristics, or set of common characteristics, something that it has the same. It could be population, it could be the climate, it could be numerous factors. And finally, we define regional diversity. Again, climatic, different weather, hot, cold, northern Canada. Cultural relates back to people and our diverse background and our sense of multiculturalism. We all come from different countries, practice different religions, traditions, etc. And topographical regions, where here in Canada we have mountains, lakes, Arctic regions, lowlands, hills, valleys, and much more. So again, combine all that into one, we have all that here in Canada. which helps define regions. And then we looked at assignment 11. We pretty much answer basically all these questions together in class. So that's that. So again, hopefully that assignment is done. Perhaps you continue to work on your assignments over the break, which if you did, awesome, thumbs up to you. I noticed that I had a few students message me through Facebook asking for help in terms of their assignments, which is totally fine too. So I don't mind helping, which is what I'm here for. So again, continue to work on assignments regardless of where you're at, whether you're at this assignment, assignment 11, working on assignment 12, or you're still back in history, or you're almost done. It doesn't matter. Just please continue to work on your assignments. Get them done as soon as you can. Get your DSC to send it to me, fax it so that I can mark it. Then you can write your final test, your exam, and then boom, we're all done. Okay, so again, continue to work on your assignments. All right, today, this is what we'll be discussing today. It looks like a lot, but it's not a lot. So again, let's go over some of our learning goals. Again, our learning goals is the direction we're heading in terms of today's class and lecture. So again, yourself and I, class students, and myself, the teacher, Jonathan, we are learning about physical geography. That'll always be there. We're learning about Canada's landforms. We're learning about rocks. And we're learning about resource management strategy. Okay, so these are our learning goals for today. This is the direction we're heading today. Again, it kind of branches off in different areas, which is okay as well. Success criteria is like your reflection, where it's something that you hope to achieve by the end of today's class. So hopefully by the end of today's class, over the next 60 minutes, you can then say, I can explain the Canadian Shield, I can explain the encarcement, I can explain the 3 types of rocks, and I can explain the 3 zones or the zones within the biosphere reserve. Okay, biosphere reserve. Okay, so these are our success criteria and our learning goals for today. So hopefully once we're all said and done, you can go back, look at these success criteria, look at these learning goals, and say to yourself, have we met these goals? Have we met these standards that we hope to achieve? Again, keep in mind there are a lot of definitions. It's just the way it is in geography, so don't get overwhelmed as well. All right. We shall begin with Canada's landform. Again, expanding our knowledge, thinking, and understanding in regards to region. Canada, again, massive country. We have so many physical region. Okay, so many physical region. On my screen, on my smartboard, you can see again another map of Canada, where it is broken down into different physical regions. Okay, you can see that giant green area, the Canadian Shield. We see a little bit of blue, which is the lowlands and the Great Lakes. Out west, we have the Western Cordillera. And then as we move inwards, we have the interior plains. Lots of different physical regions, where each physical region has its own characteristics, something that makes it stand out, something that is known for. Okay. Again, I wish we had tons of time in class where we can dive into all physical region, but we just don't have that time. We are just going to focus on one, the Canadian Shield. Okay. It's the biggest physical region in Canada. Most of us live within this physical region. So again, hopefully we can make that connection, relate back to it. So we're going to talk about that. So again, the Canadian Shield, I can see it branches from almost parts of northern Canada, the Arctic region. It goes bits into Manitoba, perhaps even in Saskatchewan, a good chunk of Ontario. A lot of it is northwestern Ontario, central and eastern, and expands all the way up into Quebec and northern Quebec as well. Okay, so that's the Canadian Shield. Okay, so we're gonna dive and look at the Canadian Shield into greater detail after this slide. Landform regions, again, an area of land that has the same major surface feature. Okay, again, going back to what I said earlier in terms of what it has in common. The Canadian Shield is again Canada's largest physical region, almost 50% of Ontario, even almost half of Canada, you can say, give or take. The Canadian Shield. Again, the Canadian Shield is the largest landform region here in Canada, almost half of Canada, almost half of Ontario. It's just absolutely massive. What makes the Canadian Shield stand out is that it has poor soil, so not great for farming, and rough terrains. It discourages farmers, so if you are a farmer, the Canadian Shield is not really ideal based on its conditions, surface, soil conditions. However, what it's actually known for is based on its rich minerals, okay? Within the Canadian Shield, again, if you go back a slide earlier or look on page 41 in your textbook, this little map of the Canadian Shield, again, it has lots of rich minerals. Metals, copper, lead, nickel, zinc, uranium, and much, much more. So again, lots of minerals, lots of mining take place within the Canadian Shield. So again, you can see the pros and cons of the Canadian Shield, and that can be said for all other physical regions as well. So again, keep in mind that it has rich minerals, storehouses such as metals, copper, lead, nickel, zinc, and uranium. Again, the Canadian Shield is also known for some of the oldest rocks that we have here. It has lots of trees and lots of lakes. Okay, so again, if you had the opportunity to fly to different communities, or if you have flown to Suluco, looked out the window, all you see is trees, 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 and more trees, and even lots of lakes as well. Again, if you had the opportunity to drive to Thunder Bay on Highway 17, across the Highway 1, again, all you see is a lot of trees. Again, the Canadian Shield is really known for this. Again, I had the opportunity to drive all the way from Suluco, all the way towards Toronto. Again, a long drive, but again, lots of different trees, and lots of lakes. So again, lots of common characteristics within the Canadian Shield. What also makes the Canadian Shield unique is that it's really embedded in terms of Canadian history based on its visual image, where authors and artists really take that imagery of what the Canadian Shield really stands for and put it into drama, arts, play, literature as well. So again, very significant in terms of Canadian history. But again, the Canadian Shield. Next, we're going to talk about what are incarceraments. Okay, this starts on the next page, on page 42. We're going to start off by visualizing, okay, you can close your eyes and just visualize what the world was like thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Okay, so close your eyes for a moment, think about it, visualize it. Okay, go back thousands and thousands of years ago where we had absolutely nothing here. We were covered in thick sheets of snow and ice known as the Ice Age. Okay, when all that retreated or melted away, it led to something known as incarceraments, or created something known as incarceraments. Encroachments are basically effects of glaciers that have retreated during the Ice Age period, again, which took place thousands and thousands of years ago. Because of this effect, were thick, heavy sheets of ice and snow that had moved away and have melted away, it really had and played an impact on our land surface. Glaciers really carved out valleys. It made lakes, hills, and ridges that we know today. Okay, so again, it impacts the land, the surface that we walk on today. Encarcements are basically cliffs that display a transition between different rock formations. It's formed by faults. In other words, it is a steep slope, okay, or a steep cliff, okay. So encarcement is basically another fancy word for a giant slope, a giant cliff, a rock cliff, something like that, okay. So again, I visualize a steep slope, a hanging cliff, okay, where something is higher than the other, okay. Again, that's the effects of the Ice Age period, that's the effects of glaciers, and this is known as encarcements. Within your textbook, there is a little article that talks about something known as the Niagara encarcement. So what is the Niagara encarcement? Okay, it starts on page 44 and it simply just goes into great details about that particular area. For those who are unfamiliar, okay, we're not going to read the whole article right now in class, but again, make sure you go back and at least skim through it, read it. It gives you a lot of details about that particular area, that particular region. So again, for those who are unfamiliar with the Niagara region or Niagara Falls, located in southern Ontario, just south-ish of Toronto, Hamilton area. Okay, that's Niagara Falls. That particular area has something known as the Niagara encarcements. Again, it was formed thousands and thousands of years ago. Again, 14,000 years ago during the Ice Age period. It's over 700 kilometers long. It's really unique in terms of its visual. It's based from, again, the effects on glaciers, erosions over time. It extends from Hamilton, Milton, Collingwood, that particular area, if you're familiar with Southern Ontario. Again, what's really unique about the encarcement is that you can do lots, okay, in terms of its physical appearance. Again, hills, valleys, cities, towns, lots of recreational activities, great for education and purposes, great for tourism. There are lots of hiking trails that you can walk along it. It's again very unique in terms of what it has and what is offered to do. Since this area, okay, this little stretch, this little cliff that extends almost over 700 kilometers long, it needs to be protected. Okay, it does have lots of trees, unique species of trees, and unique species of animals and birds and flowers, and needs to be protected. Okay, so that future generations can witness this beautiful visual landscape that it has to offer. Again, like I said, it has cliffs, valleys, waterfalls, lots of things to do within this particular area known as the Niagara encarcements. So since it needs to be protected, something needs to come in play, and that was when back in 1990, it fell under the category of the Biosphere Reserve, where it needs to be protected federally, provincially, and internationally so that, again, it can be sustained, maintained, preserved for future generations. Again, like I said, we're not going to read this whole article. Again, it's on page 44 in your textbook. Again, make sure you go back, check it out, read it, skim through it, gives you a lot of great details about how it was created, how it was formed, and what it has to offer as well. But we're gonna transition into. But before that, I got some visuals on my screen. Again, glaciers right here. Okay, again, just visualize thick sheets of ice. Again, encarcements, again, just visualize a steep cliff. Okay. Doesn't necessarily have to be within the Niagara region, but again, something that's higher and lower in terms of elevation based on rocks. Again, it transformed and it's created thousands of years due to rain, snow, erosions over time. Again, Niagara encarcements, again, note the elevation and note how far it extends. This right here, it's not encarcements, but it's just another image that shows the effects of erosions. This is the Hoodoos in Western Canada, Drumheller area. Again, rocks that has been shaped and formed based on erosion, snow, that had then led to this unique visual image. The Biosphere Reserve, this is on page 45. This is where we're going to transition to. This is where we're going to talk about next. So relating this back into the Niagara encarcements, again, it needs to be protected in terms of what we can have for future generation. And a biosphere simply is part of our planet that support life and how we should live with nature. Okay, ecosystem is basically how we need to protect different areas, whether it's living and non-living, in terms of parks, wildlife areas to help conserve biodiversity, in terms of what we have to offer with nature, so that we can demonstrate and maintain sustainable development for future generations as well. So basically, the UNSO, the United Nations Education Scientific Cultural Organization, again, I don't need to know that name, but you need to know what it has to do with the Biosphere Reserve, what its goals are, what it aims to do, what it wants to achieve. Again, the goal of the Biosphere is to achieve a balance between protection of significant ecozones and development. So again, the Niagara encarcement falls under this category where it was recognized back in 1990, where it needs to be protected. It's one of 6, I believe, biosphere reserve that where we need to protect here in Canada, but there's much, much more around the world. Again, it's broken down to 3 main zones with 3 main categories of how the biosphere is to be done. So 1, the core area is designed to protect what we want to protect. It could be a stream, it could be a valley, it could be a forest, it could be a wetland, you name it. Okay, so again, think of something that you want to protect in your community. A particular area, it could be a house, it could be that tree in your backyard, it could be anything. That is known as the core areas. So what's around it, what we want to protect, that is the core area. The area around it is known as the buffer zone. Okay, the buffer zone. The buffer zone are basically activities to conserve what we want to protect. It could be a sign, it could be pylons with string, it could be fence around it, it could be different activities happening around it. But that's what is happening around it so that we can protect our core area. And finally, the last zone around the buffer zone is known as the transitional zone. Transitional zone, where local landowners are involved within the resource management strategies and development where they buy into what's happening and we do our part to maintain what we want to protect. So again, Simply picking up the garbage where you and I help clean up the area, make sure we promote it, spread awareness, talk about it, so that we protected what we want to protect. Okay, so hopefully that kind of little makes sense right there. So again, just visualize a little tree that we want to protect. Okay, that is our core area. And around it, we have the buffer zone. Again, it could be a little fence. It could be something else. Who knows? And around it are more activities. Okay, where local owners, community members are involved as well so we can protect it. Okay. So again, what I'm trying to emphasize is the goal of the biosphere, note what it wants to achieve, and the three main zones that are done within the biosphere. Core area, buffer zone, transitional zone. Again, all that's on page 45 in your textbook. Make note of it. You'll see it again on your upcoming assignment. Again, on page 46 in your textbook, it has your visual image of the Niagara Escarpment. Again, that giant line that goes across southern Ontario, we are not trying to protect all of it, but we're just trying to protect the main key areas that has lots of biodiversity within it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Again, you can simply just Google biodiversity, sorry, not biodiversity, but biosphere reserve, the Niagara Escarpments to get tons more information of why we want to protect it, what it has to offer, and so much more as well. All right, great, good stuff. Okay, we're going to transition to our last topic and theme for today, this morning. We're going to talk about rocks. That's right, we're going to talk about rocks. We're going to talk about the types of rocks. Okay, before I used to tie this in with the rock cycle. I kind of took that out, but again, I might try to add it in again. But again, our goal here is just to basically know the names of the types of rocks and how it is simply formed. Okay, how it's simply formed. Just keep that in mind. Okay, I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I need to know names of classification of rocks, or its hardness, or its texture, its color, whether it's shiny or it's dull. Okay, we don't need to know that. Okay, that was back in grade 4 where we did that. But again, we're just trying to expand a little bit, talk about what we have to offer in terms of our landform, or a land that we walked on, the land that we live on, and it's rocks. Okay, it's rocks. So the three types of rocks that our planet compose are 1, igneous rock, 2, sedimentary rock, and 3, metamorphic rock. Okay, igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. Again, note the names. If you note the order, that helps too, because it kind of flows in that. But again, you don't have to necessarily know them in that order as well. So we're going to look at each type of rock in a bit of details, not so much. Basically how it's formed. I'm going to name some examples that fall under that classification category of rocks as well. Again, all this on page 47 in your textbook. It's not much in your textbook. Again, if you want more information about rocks, something that just interests you, something that you like, let me know. I can always find more information. I can always plug it in, or I can simply just research it, do some inquiry skills, and you'll learn lots more about rocks. So, let's start off with the first one. Igneous rock. Okay, igneous rock. So again, close your eyes once again, class. Close your eyes and visualize a volcano. Okay. Okay, visualize a volcano and visualize it erupting. Okay. Once that volcano erupts, Again, you have lava falling out everywhere. You have smoke, ashes jumping out left and right. Once all that's all over and it cools off, it creates rocks. Okay. By the way, igneous rock can be formed underground and above ground. Okay, what I just said was above ground, and it can be done underground as well. Again, once these rocks are cooled off and melted from these lava or magma, it cools off, it forms these rocks known as igneous rocks. Okay, I cannot I cannot simplify it any other way, but I'm trying to simplify it as simply as I can. Okay, example of an igneous rock. Okay, they don't all come from necessarily volcanoes, but you got basalt, and you have granite. Or example of an igneous rock. Okay, these are not just the two types of igneous rock. There are so much more. Okay, if you want me to name them all, we'll be here all day long just writing out names. That's not significant. But again, igneous rock, again, it starts off at the very top of the cycle where you have this volcano, it erupts, and then lava, magma flows out, it cools off, boom, you have igneous rock. Okay, let's look at the next one. Sedimentary rock. How is that created? Well, sedimentary rocks are created differently. It is created through weathering, from wind and water breaking down rocks over time. It could be an igneous rock, it could be any other rock. It's often washed away or sits at the bottom of a river or the ocean. Okay, so you have a river nearby. Okay, I don't say go and check it out, but again, there could be a rock down there that's a sedimentary rock. Okay, through years and hundreds and thousands of years, heat and pressure from the earth push down on that rock. Okay, push down on that rock where it changes. Okay, it changes into a sedimentary rock. Okay, so again, visualize a rock, take that rock, throw water on it, throw wind on it, put thousands of years on it, put heat and pressure where it pushes down on the rock, where it sits at the bottom of a body of water, and you have a sedimentary rock, and eventually it will wash up on shore, and you have this rock known as the sedimentary rock. Okay, so again, visualize a rock. If you see a rock that has like layers on it, that's an excellent indication that it is a sedimentary rock. These layers are from heat and pressure from the earth pushing down on it. Okay. Example, you may ask, well, you got sandstone. Ever saw a sandstone? What about limestone? That's not an example of a sedimentary rock. Well, stone. Chalk. Not necessarily a chalk that we write on a blackboard, but chalk. Clay. And much, much, much more. Okay, not just limited to what I just named. Again, feel free to take these names, Google it. You'll see images on it. Again, sandstone, limestone, chalk, and clay. But again, what we need to remember is that wind, water breaks it down, heat and pressure breaks it down. It often sits at the bottom of rivers and oceans and has layers. Okay, has layers. Again, not all of them have layers, but I would say a majority of them have layers. They are often found near bodies of water, lakes, streams, oceans. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. That is a sedimentary rock and how they are formed. Okay, so again, move along a little cycle, and we'll go back to our cycle. We have one more rock, and that is a metamorphic rock. Okay, metamorphic rocks. Okay, metamorphic simply, you Google that word or look it up in your dictionary. It simply just means change or transform in a way. So again, visualize a rock, whether it's an igneous rock or sedimentary rock. Again, heat and pressure from that rock is broken down, and it then goes back into a little cycle known as the metamorphic rock. Okay, and it really kind of goes back into its original form, where it's really broken down into something different from its original form, creates a brand new rock that is a metamorphic rock. Okay, hopefully that kind of little makes sense. Uh, Marble. Okay, it's not an igneous rock, not a sedimentary rock, but it's a rock that has been transformed in different slate, and again, much, much, much more. Okay, so again, if I try to visualize, to try to break this down for you, so we have an igneous rock. Okay, then it's broken down over time with a sedimentary rock. And it's then again transformed into something known as metamorphic. And it goes back into its original form as an igneous rock. Okay, that's something known as a rock cycle. So if you had the opportunity to do grade 4, the curriculum, you will see all that. Okay, so again, don't try to confuse yourself. If you're confused, just let me know. I'll try to help you out in terms of more visuals. But again, it goes in that little motion, igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic, rock cycle, where it just continues thousands and thousands and hundreds of years. All right, I think I'm gonna stop right there and stop talking about rocks. And let's get to your assignments. Okay, your assignments. Again, please continue to work on your assignment. Okay, again, same expectation, full, complete sentences, check for spelling, grammar, write neatly, details. We all know what to do. So assignment 12 in your workbook is now 21 marks. Question 1, why is the Canadian Shield considered Canada's stone house of metallic minerals? 2, how were glaciers responsible for land formations? 3, what is an encarcement and describe how it's formed? Okay, so again, Canadian Shield, glaciers, and then encarcements. Okay, all this we talked about, all this can be found in your textbook. Question 4 deals with the article entitled, What is the Niagara Encarcement? Provide 2 causes for the erosion of this landform. So again, go back, check out that article, skim through it, read it. You'll find out how it's created, how it's formed based on this landform. Question 5, what is a biosphere reserve? Okay, so what is it? Okay, explain what it is first. And then name the 3 zones of this reserve and give its description. Not just name, but what it is. Okay, so what does the biosphere goal and purpose is? And then name the 3 zones, the core area, the buffer zone, and the transitional zone, and describe what each zone is supposed to do. Okay, again, all this in your textbook. Feel free to summarize it into your own words so that it helps you to remember it. Okay, again, don't just regurgitate the textbook. Okay, that's not what we are trying to do. However, the answers are there, and you are always more than welcome to use it. Again, if you want to use additional resources like Google or any other articles, any other textbook, you're more than welcome to. Just simply note it as you complete your assignment so I know where you got that information from. Okay. So again, just keep that in mind as well. And not just limited to your textbook. You're more than welcome to expand your thinking, understanding as well. And your last question, question number 6. Name the types of rocks. Name the 3 types of rocks and explain how each one is formed. Okay, a mark each. And mark for its name and a mark for how it is formed. Okay, so again, don't need to tell me the types of it or what kind of rock it is, but simply just know how it's formed. Okay, a little quick little summary. Again, igneous, volcano, lava cooling off, sedimentary, wind, water, metamorphic, change, heat, pressure. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, key characteristics. Okay, I don't expect everyone to be an expert in terms of rocks or glaciers or encarsments or resource management strategies, but again, just themes that we just touched upon. And that right there is assignment number 12. Again, hopefully you can work on that right now as we speak. If you're done it, great, awesome. Feel free to move on to the next assignment or just continue where you left off. Okay. So that's today's class. Again, hopefully you can go back and check out our learning goals. Let's quickly do that. Let's sim through backwards. Look at our learning goals for today and our success criteria. Can you now explain the Canadian Shield? Can you now explain on encarsment? Can you explain the 3 types of rocks or name them? And can you explain the 3 zones within the Biosphere Reserve? Okay. If you can, for all of them, excellent. That's what we're trying to achieve. If you can't, that's alright. Go back, look at the notes, look at your textbook, review. Let me know if you need any help or clarifications, and hopefully you can hit these success criteria. Okay. Next class on Thursday, we're going to look at functional region. We're going to look at trees. We're going to look at climate and ecozones. Okay, that's what we have in store for Thursday as we wrap up week 7 of this course, PLAR history, geography of term 1A. So again, Thursday, same time slot, same routine. We'll look at functional region, we'll look at climate, we'll look at types of trees, and we'll dive into ecozones here in Canada. Okay. Are there any questions? If they are, let me know. You know where to find me. Again, welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year. Thanks so much for tuning in, joining me live this morning here in class. It has been great as we try to get back into that mindset of being a student and completing these work. Again, hopefully you're motivated. Don't be discouraged. If you are, just let me know. I'm here to help. Okay, I'm here to help. That's what I'm here for. All right, so I'm going to stop it here for today. Thank you so much. I'll see everyone back here on Thursday. Thank you. Have a rest.